Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a great time at Bits and Pretzel. I'm just so excited to be here, and what a great opportunity to try on my new lederhosen. I'm just a month here in Munich, and I'm having a great time. So this is such a fabulous event. 5,000 participants, so many startups, founders and investors, and also such a great lineup of speakers. So I feel really privileged to be here. Thank you very much. And also somewhat relieved not to be coming after Sir Richard Branson. So I'm right here as the warm-up act for you. So thank you very much. Both myself and IBM, very passionate about the ideas and the innovation that comes from startup community. And so therefore we're here to learn, to collaborate, and also to be part of this very flourishing community. And so I'm here to say a few thoughts and ideas from an IBM perspective around cognitive IoT. And I'll start by putting some ideas on the table. And we believe that the future of Internet of Things is cognitive. So in the future, human beings, any decision that we make, it's going to be informed by cognitive systems like Watson. And this will make our lives better. And when I say cognitive IoT, I don't mean artificial intelligence only. Artificial intelligence is part of it. But for us, it's actually the partnership between the person and the machine. And us in our team at Watson IoT, we're working very hard to make sure that we can help humans do what they do best, and without recreating the human mind in the form of a machine. So think how powerful it is connecting all of these billions of devices and coordinating, how powerful that is. And I'm not just talking about the mobile phones or the smartphones in your pockets. We all have those. But I'm talking about all the devices that connect us to this physical world. So think about your cars, think about your appliances, think about the machines on the shop floor, even contact lenses. All of these things communicating their condition. They're all learning from use and improving. That in fact is the promise of the Internet of Things. And it's about allowing us the ability to design products that actually adapt to you and I. That it's not the other way around, that we have to adapt to the products. It's about orchestrating all of these things that we are so used to in our hands and that connect us, but making them more useful for us. And it's about helping businesses improve their performance, give better experiences to their customers, and also rethink some of their operating models. So I guess you could ask the question, is Internet of Things really delivering on its promise? And I can tell you that I spend majority of my time traveling, meeting with clients. And in the last, I would say, 9 to 12 months, I've seen 3 big shifts. First, I find organizations are now moving from exploration to transformation. So the strategies to actually leverage and harness the power of IoT, that's becoming more clear. The use cases related to industries, those are becoming more clear. Second is that true differentiation is going to come from insights from different type of data, from new forms of data. And I don't mean just data from IoT devices. I actually mean combining the data from sensors with your enterprise data and also infusing and augmenting with new sources of data. So like weather or video or audio, because most of the data now that we create is pretty much unstructured. So the competitive differentiation will come from that. And then the third thing is that IoT has become a top business priority. In the past, in my previous jobs, I might have struggled to get an appointment with a CEO. I don't struggle to get an appointment because everybody wants to understand the potential of IoT. And it is helping business executives to be able to improve their performance, to be able to look at better customer experiences or deepen their customer relationships, and also think about completely new operating models. So, let's take a few examples about how customers are really leveraging the power of IoT. And I thought I'll give you 3 examples. And the first one is really around operational performance. So businesses are able to improve their operations, improve their efficiency, and drastically reduce their costs by leveraging IoT. And there are lots of examples in many industries. One of the examples, and you can see the picture at the back, this picture is the port of Cartagena. It's Colombia's largest shipping terminal. They ship something like about 40 million tons of cargo each year. So what they are doing is they are leveraging a hybrid model of cognitive IoT. They have sensors on all of their critical equipment. So like rubber tire gantries or cranes or forklifts. And what they need to do is they need to take the data from these sensors, and some of the decisions have to be made very much at the point of action. So for that, they use edge analytics. So they take the data, they analyze the data, and they make decisions, or they help their operators make decisions right there. And then the rest of the data, they move it to cloud, and then they analyze that data later on for more strategic decisions. So that's the kind of power that they are leveraging from IoT to be able to do cost reduction. The second example is about customer experiences and how businesses are leveraging products and services that are more agile, they're more adaptive, and they give more insights. And we're working with the world's largest retailer on creating a Watson store advisor. So what this advisor does is it actually creates a 360-degree view for a store manager. So it's literally digitizing every aspect of a retail store. And what Watson can also do is that it can infuse other data like weather forecasts, or even listening to the radio and understanding when events are happening in the neighborhood. I mean, a good example would be, I'm a runner, so if there is a half marathon in the neighborhood, the store advisor knows that there is a half marathon, and that this will help the store advisor with their product placement and their merchandising strategy. So they will place energy drinks or energy bars right at the right spot, so when people come in, that's the first thing they hit. So it's about understanding what's happening around and being able to use that and leverage that in terms of your operations. So that's an example of consumer experiences. And then, the third example is really around industry transformation, unconventional partnerships, or new services or new sources of revenue. And Daimler has been in the business of selling cars since 1886. So IoT has helped the company create a new business model, and it's such a historic company, but this is such a new model for them. You can see the picture Car2Go. This is the world's largest mobile car sharing company. They have about 15,000 connected cars, and they have about 1.2 million members. So there was a need in the market, there was a need for this, and IoT enabled it. And in fact, its success has allowed Daimler to move from a car manufacturer to a transportation provider. So you see that you have transformations from just product to services. And this is what Internet of Things and cognitive is enabling today. So I think, and a question is, so you've got Internet of Things, collecting of the data. Why do you need cognitive IoT? And the answer very simply is, by 2020, we will have 30 billion devices. 40% of all of the data that's created is going to be created from Internet of Things. But the interesting thing is, 88% of that data is unstructured. It is data that is in the form of natural language, it's in the form of literature, in the form of audio, video, and it's data that is never used, it's not acted upon. So traditional systems that we have today, they can actually store data, they can transport it, they can process it, but they cannot understand this kind of unstructured data. That's why you need cognitive. Because cognitive systems can understand. they understand through sense and interaction. They can reason through creating hypotheses or arguments or a rationale. And of course, they learn. They learn through interaction, constant interaction. They learn through training from experts. And also they learn through ingesting tons and tons of data. So it's this ability of cognitive systems that is very important. And this form of computing is now giving rise and fueling a lot of innovation. And that's why I'm really excited about talking at Bits and Pretzel, because I believe that cognitive computing, leveraging the APIs for cognitive computing, a lot of startups will be able to bring a tremendous amount of innovation to the table. So, one thing that cognitive computing will change is how we as humans interact with machines. So let me just have a raise of hands. Who has or who knows about Ollie? Okay, we need to get some more people out a little bit more. So we just recently launched Ollie with Local Motors. It's a company that manufactures 3D printed automobiles. So Ollie is the first self-driving electric vehicle, but what's interesting is it's a cognitive vehicle. And it can carry 12 passengers. And when you're commuting in Ollie, you can have a very interesting interaction, a very engaging experience with Ollie. So you can have a conversation with Ollie. And I won't name other kind of interactive natural language tools, but this is very contextual. So Ollie understands where you are, what you're doing, who you're sitting with, and you can ask Ollie about, what's the weather outside, what's the traffic looking like, what's the best place to go and have a Thai meal, and it learns through the interaction. So this is a great example of how we are leveraging the power of cognitive computing to change and make the interaction between humans and machines much more rich. Another example is a company called Aerialtronics. It's a Dutch manufacturer of unmanned aircraft systems. And so we're partnering with this company, and they're leveraging Watson IoT technology. And what they're doing is they are creating new business of inspection services in many industries. And what they do is they take drones, as you can see in the picture, they've got high-definition cameras on the drones, and they are streaming this data onto the cloud, so Watson IoT platform, leveraging the APIs to be able to do visual comparison, visual inspection. And with that, they can do inspection of oil rigs, remote locations like oil rigs or wind turbines, or in this picture you can see cell towers, these high towers for telecom operators. And so what it is again giving rise to a new service which is more cost efficient, but also more safe. Because you can imagine, when you're getting human beings to such remote and high locations, there's a lot of safety factor involved. So that's another example of leveraging cognitive IoT technology. And then the final one that I want to share with you is this picture, which is we're working with manufacturers and demonstrating the power of cognitive with robotics. And this is a picture at Hannover Messe. So what's happening in the picture is the individual is talking to the robot, and the robot is able to do calligraphy, so Mandarin calligraphy. But the interesting thing is that the individual is speaking in English, and the robot understands. What happens effectively is you speak in English, and that's picked up by Watson IoT. It translates using natural language interface. It translates the English into text, English text, then translates English text into Mandarin because the robot doesn't understand English, and then through the platform transmits the communication to the robot to scribe, and the robot does the calligraphy. So that's the kind of interaction that we are bringing about on the shop floor. It's not about automation, but it's about the interaction with the robots. And the robot can actually communicate back to the individual. So robots are self-diagnosing. They can understand their, so to say, body parts or their joints, and they can diagnose when exactly some part needs to be replaced. And then come back in natural language and communicate with the supervisor. So that's the third example of cognitive. So, we really believe in the potential of Internet of Things, and understanding this potential, we set up a new business unit, a brand new business unit in IBM called Watson IoT, and for the first time in IBM's history, we have set up a headquarters outside of the US, and that's now in this beautiful town of Munich. So we just launched our headquarters, and this will be ready in November this year. And we will have about 2,000 square feet of space where we will have customer labs and true immersion abilities of use cases in particular industries. And we will have about 1,000 people here to be able to work on cognitive IoT. So and I really invite you to come down and see these capabilities. And I guess my final slide is really about what does this mean for you as startups and entrepreneurs. First and foremost, we are here in Munich. We've set up our headquarters here. We're building this capability with 1,000 engineers, developers, data scientists. Please come and engage and leverage the capability right here in the heart of Europe. The second thing is we have our IBM Global Entrepreneur Program. So it's the SMART program where you can come in and we will give you free access to the Watson IoT platform and the Watson APIs. We will also give you the ability to access our technical team that can help you implement and get on to leveraging these capabilities. And I think quite important is also the support and guidance that we would give from a business perspective, so that you have the experience of many of our senior execs around how these businesses build, and to think about what it requires to be successful with these businesses. So, and also help you with presentations at, of course, these events like Bits and Pretzel and CeBIT, IFA, etc. And then the last thing I also want to mention is our IBM Smart Camp, which this year it's not only focused on startups, but it'll also be in Munich in November. And here we have the opportunity for startups to come up and showcase their ideas, their innovation, and then there is a global finale, which is in the US, where the startup has an opportunity to win. So great capabilities, and I would encourage you to come and talk to us, come and have an engagement, and we can definitely help you get on board. So, I hope that was interesting from a perspective of cognitive IoT. And in summary, what I would say is that as humans, we have the ability to sense and make sense of our surroundings. And when organizations can do the same, using data, using sensors, devices, then they infuse a certain amount of intelligence into their business operations, into their customer engagements, into their products, into people. And this really helps improve the business performance, but also improve the human experience. So from my perspective, a cognitive business is one that leverages every aspect of the digital and the physical world, and it understands, it reasons, and it learns from this combination of digital and physical. So thank you very much for having me here, and hope you have a good day. Thank you.
All right, let's give a hand to Sanjay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you very much. Okay, it's break time.